Children of all ages, it's time for the Anaglyph Jukebox. Hi, Joe. What do you have
Hey,
for us this week?
hey, Johnny Laser. Well, Johnny, my close personal friend, the poet E. E. Cummings, rolled over in bed this morning. He looked me right in the eye and he said, "Damn everything but the circus. Damn everything that is grim, dull, motionless, unrisking, inward turning. Damn everything that won't get into the circle, that won't enjoy, that won't throw its heart into the tension, surprise, fear, and delight of the circus, the round world, the full existence." Welcome to today's edition of the Anaglyph Jukebox. You never know what you'll find on the old jukebox. Let's press B31. Okay, we've got Ringling Brothers Clowns in 3D. Either as filler between the big, daring acts, or as cover when something went horribly wrong, the circus orchestra would strike up Czech composer Julius Fučík's Entry of the Gladiators, and all clowns on deck would rush into the ring. The circus made Fučík's March, composed in 1897, a smash international hit, but the success was bittersweet, as it had been written as a military march. Fun film fact: the famous helicopter attack scene with Robert Duvall in Francis Ford Coppola's Apocalypse Now was originally scored with the Entry of the Gladiators. The studio made him change it to The Ride of the Valkyries by German composer Richard Wagner. It's from the second of the 4 operas of his Ring cycle. Scary clowns and dark carnivals are all the rage today, but the jukebox finds this craze laughable. Stephen King's It? That don't mean spit. The really scary monsters in the sewers are the chuds. Everyone knows that. In my childhood compound behind the barbed wire, it was well known that you could study Shakespeare and become quite elite. And you could charm the critics and have nothing to eat. But Mom always said, slip on a banana peel, the world's at your feet.
once again, Joseph. I got my hands here, which means something to me and anything to anybody else. Thanks again for that, taking us there. There we go. I got to aim that here. Thanks again. Okay. So now for this week's guest, John Chu, a 3D hobbyist, binaural sound, immersive video, regurgitator of internet info. And also, as it turns out, the Santa Claus of the subconscious. I'm sure you don't mind that again. I love that. That's just a great bit. John, where are you?
Right here. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
Oh.
Thank you for taking all the time out and putting this all together for us, because and take your time. The audience will be listening to every word you say. It's a great subject you got. You don't have to be quick. So tell us. So you can begin with your process. I'm all set. They're all dying and watching. So am I. Here, go ahead.
Okay. Well, anyway, my name is John Chu. I'm from Queens. I live here in Queens, NYC. Basically an enthusiast in video, photos, binaural sound, and 3D. But I'm an amateur, so most of what I do is what I learned from the internet, basically. But so I record things that we can re-experience later. So nothing's more precious. A photograph is great, but to be able to re-experience it again is wonderful. And when I say binaural sound, I assume everyone already knows about that. What 3D does for the eyes, binaural sound does for the ears, right? Basically, you get a stereo recorder left and right. You wear the microphones in your left and right ear. You do an audio recording, and then you play it back through headphones, and you just get the most realistic sound field ever. Even without visuals, you can close your eyes and you listen to it, and you just feel like you're in that space. It records the whole acoustics, and it's one of the simplest things ever. And if you marry that with 3D, you get a really darn immersive type of a product. So anyway, let me
share. Before you go any further, because that's an interesting topic, because that really does affect tremendously your ability to be immersed into something, right? Not only look at me going in the back. Give me 1 second. It kills the edit, man. While I'm trying to figure this out, how are they doing that in the headphones? Is it phase? How's that work?
You talk about binaural?
Yeah, you're binaural.
Oh, it's nothing. You just omnidirectional microphones. You can just get, and you can wear some lavaliers if you want to, but they have microphones. They're not that expensive. Usually like maybe $100, $80, or you can build your own, and you wire it to a 3.5 mm microphone, plug it into your stereo recorder camera, and you just record it. You wear like a headphone, right?
Right.
And then you record something, and then when you play it back through headphones, then you get the sound field.
And you get that immersive sound, but since you only have it, what I'm trying to get at is you're only listening, right, to
what headphones? Yeah.
Through one headphone. But that phasing, is that phasing done because it's right? Is that how it's doing?
If I can interject, the way from what I understand, and John, correct me if I'm not following what you're talking about. The mic is put into something shaped like an ear, and the shapes of our ears actually manipulate the way sound comes in ways that our brain can understand positionality. So there isn't really any post-processing magic, which I think is what you're asking, John. It's just the fact that the mic has been put in something shaped like your ear. So all these things are happening to the sound that your brain then interprets.
Right.
Sorry to interrupt, but
that's good.
It's a fascinating topic. It's definitely something
it's okay. But it's really magical. I mean, if you like 3D, seek out some binaural recordings. Probably YouTube's probably the best places to do it. You just put on your headphones and just listen to it, and it's so easy to capture along with your video. So anyway, that's okay. So let me go ahead and start my slideshow here real quick. Here you go. Share. Okay, good. So that's just me. Santa Claus. That reference to Santa Claus of the subconscious is a joke for someone, if anyone that's ever seen Strange Days, that movie. Okay. Below is my YouTube page at John Chu. So let me go through that real quick. As a kid, obviously, everyone's experienced the ViewMaster, looking at the reels for sale at the toy store. But it's expensive to keep buying those, right? But as a kid, you probably wonder how that's done. You're looking through the Viewmasters, how is this possible that the image has depth? So I've always had that passion. I wish there was a way for us to take 3D pictures, right? But this is days before the internet, right? Nobody can share this information. It's not like maybe the library might be had some information about doing stereo photography, but I had no idea what it was. So in the 90s, one day I was walking to the Discovery Channel store. They used to have a store, and lo and behold, there was something called the 3D camera. It was actually a L'Oreal Mark I Argus, and took it home, shot some pictures on it, and printed them out with 1 hour Photoshop, 1 hour developing store. Put the photos in it, and you look at it and you say, "Wow, this is great!" Except for the fuzzy part in the middle, but it's one of the best kind of experiences, and that really got me hooked. That maybe you can just do 3D pictures yourself. Okay, so let's see, click on it. But it was so expensive. So compact cameras got so cheap that back in the early 2000s, you could get a Nikon for 99 bucks. And I said, heck, I'll just go ahead and put two together, not knowing that the stereo base on two cameras was still too wide. But the pictures are really nice outdoors, right? Otherwise, there's too much parallax and hurts the eyes to view, right? And of course, everybody knows the 3D guy that does it, looking at it through red and blue glasses, me. Okay, so moving forward now, in addition to just trying to take 3D pictures with two cameras, I thought it would be kind of cool now to make your own 3D movies, right? So what I wanted to do was figure out a way to do 3D video. I mean, everyone's done it, but trying to do it affordably because there's no real 3D cameras out there, except for now the Kucam Ego just recently came out. And people when you read the internet, they was talking about sync issues when you have two cameras, because most of the magic would happen in editing. So anyway, my 3D camera rigs are assembled with camera flash brackets, Arca Swiss clamps, and 1/4 inch thumb screws and tripod spacers. So let me go ahead. So let's go with the GoPros.
And that Arca Swiss clamps, is that a brand name or is that a style of clamp?
It's very common on, I'll show you on Amazon. Basically, Arca is a very common thing, but they have, can we keep going forward?
Keep going, sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry, I can't, it's hard to show the picture here. Okay, so basically just using flash brackets you can just buy from Amazon, GoPro, and putting it together. So the Arca Swiss, here's an example of the Arca Swiss clamp. The bottom camera was on a sliding plate here. These things you can get for like 15 bucks on Amazon. Basically, you just screw it out to the bottom of a flash bracket, and then you mount the camera on top of the sliding plate. And as long as you line it up mostly correct, it'll work, and then you can adjust the stereo base as you're recording. So you can get close enough that you can do nice, comfortable indoor video, and outdoors you can spread it out a little bit for more.
So John, so you got I see the cameras. What's to the side? Yeah, what's to the side of it? Like there's that, and keep going to not that, like right next to that. Yeah, you went right on it. What's right next to the camera? No, not that. The one point at the camera. That thing, camera. Like that. Yeah. Now move towards the bracket. Now that thing. What is that? Why am I?
This bracket? Do you mean this thing?
No, the thing right next to the camera, like adjacent to the camera. Is that part of the camera?
This thing?
Or a spacer?
Oh, these are just these are two L brackets, flash brackets. So basically, they come with some thumb screws. So it's for reconfiguring your L brackets in different ways.
Yeah, that part I got. It's just I'm more confused. You keep going, but I'm the thing that's stuck next. Is that a microphone or something?
Oh, you mean
next to the camera?
Something, right here, the ones is forever cam. That thing.
They do this. Point down to the camera lens. Put it on the camera lens. Now move a little. Move slowly towards the, no, down, like to the right. I'm sorry.
So success is it's a spacer. Is it just a spacer?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what's right next to the camera. Like
you mean this thing here? Does he mean this thing here?
Nope.
Here, this.
Nope. Oh, it is the camera then. The GoPro. Put it on the lens. The white thing, John. The
white thing.
Or the white and gray. You touched it.
This?
You got
all these newer GoPros have a front screen. I mean, I don't know why they do it. So that I guess people doing selfies, they can see that they're recording. Maybe they're jumping out of an airplane.
You
And they
answered
say,
the
"Oh, I'm
question.
recording." Huh? That's
You
good,
answered.
right?
I was just confused. Thank you. I thought it been a mic or something. It was just me being up binaurialing myself. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh no, but the GoPros do support microphone input.
I understand.
So you can USB-C adapter. You plug it in and then go. Anyway, this is basic. The biggest challenge, of course, is finding the parts on Amazon. So, but it's so cheap. You can probably do this for $50, but assembling it together. All right. And here. Of course, you also want to make sure your equipment looks handsome when you go onto the real world, so you can show off and say, "Hey, I got something cool," instead of something made out of, I don't know, just make it look cool, right?
That's cool.
So, all right.
I threw you out momentum, but it was interesting. I got it.
Okay,
keep on.
so some things about GoPro for 3D is that it's an ultra wide fisheye, and so the 3D video will be in a fisheye ultra wide type of look. So people don't like that, but you can defish it in editing, right? And then you can also crop in by zooming in. So if you shoot 4K, you get a lot of room to kind of go in if you're doing on a 1080p project, right? There's enough pixels that instead of being super wide, you can zoom in a little bit so you can get a little bit more interest. Because otherwise, if you're doing 3D and it's really wide, it may not be more interesting unless you get close to some things, right? So the GoPros have good stabilization, electronic stabilization, so you don't really need a tripod or anything like that because it's meant for handheld work, right? Some of them can do 4K 60, no problem, and you can also shoot at 4:3 aspect. So if you want to shoot square 3D, you could do that. Avoid GoPro mounts that tilt back and forth like this. These fingers, they're terrible because then if you have two cameras tilting back and forth, you can't get them aligned, right? You just basically want them at the same vertical plane. The older GoPros need a case. They don't have tripod holes in them, so that's annoying. The new ones, GoPros no longer support the sync. So you have to sync it when you're editing, and I'll talk a little bit about that. Microphone input is available. The newer GoPros have a Corning's tripod adapter, so tripod hole at the bottom, so you can just basically screw stuff right on it. So that makes life easy. You don't have to put the GoPro in a case and then mount it onto whatever you're trying to do. You can just do that. So you can just screw it directly, which is very, very convenient. Okay, and make sure you get high quality batteries because they like to crash if the batteries drop. You'll be using it and they'll just lock up because of overheating or if the batteries are cheap. Okay, so I saw this GoPro 11 Mini. I thought, two of these would be perfect for doing 3D. There was a fire sale for like $200, but no microphone input and no display, so you're kind of aiming blind. But it's cool. So the next one is dual point and shoot cameras. Something like this, right? I originally bought these to just take pictures because I was kind of I missed my old Nikon setup and my Fuji W3. It's nice, but you still want a higher quality image, right? These babies would deliver because they're just. This is one of the larger sensor ones, I guess. I don't know, but I got these as refurbs on eBay for about $100 each, so $200. I was good to go, right off the race. But recently, I discovered that it did shoot video, and I said, why not make videos with it and try it out and experiment? And it was pretty good, so I was happy that I could do that. So I'm going to click on that, and of course, if you flip it over, then that makes life easier. Then you can adjust it. Except getting to the camera card and the battery means undoing everything to get at it, so that's really annoying. And you still can't get it that close. The lens is that close. Even here, it's probably about 3 inches between each lens, so 3 to 4 inches, maybe more. But it's a good option. If you already have one camera, look for another camera, and then you can go ahead and shoot videos. Start one camera, then just start the second one, and then in editing, you figure it out. I'll explain how that's done a little bit.
Now do you have a little like a way of presetting the vertical alignment, or you just let it go and you deal with that in editing? on the cameras. I mean.
That is one of the annoying things about these cameras. Sometimes they're cheap. They're not. They're a little bit different in each camera. So what's good about these flash brackets? I can adjust. I can see how I can slide that, loosen it up.
Yeah.
So
But
sometimes
how do you do that though? Do you look at the back of the cameras and kind of do that? Or?
Yeah, that's what I do. I just look. You make shoot a little bit, then you import the video, and you look at it, and it's why is it still a little bit off? You're never going to get it perfect, but I guess you can then try to fix it in editing.
You can get it to a range that editing will compensate for, right? You just gotta, so you don't have to like something like that. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so that's it's fun in editing. You can just fix it. So it's not too bad. The worst part is there's any rotational errors. Like if one camera's like 1 or 2 degree not level, and then you get video one, and then you gotta fix it in editing if possible. So like that, right? So okay. Oh, and of course, what advantage of using a dual camera for shooting video is, you can get the screen grabs out of the video. So people always say, well, you can't get sync because I can't finger sync and take great pictures with this camera because in New York City things are moving so quickly. But if you do it in video, you can cheat and you just grab the frames from each camera, and then you can share those images. Not the highest quality pictures, but
that's good advice. That's great advice.
That's great advice. So I mean, I love that. So you can quickly export anaglyph or maybe side by side if you want to put it up on Flickr or whatever and share that. So, right. So okay, good. Okay. So what's good about it? The lenses are rectilinear. They're not a fisheye. They have an optical zoom lens. So when you do 3D video, you can do variety of shots. Not everything is wide. You can go a little bit closer, a little bit tighter, So, and I was messing around trying to do hyper with it, with a bar across the street to a construction site. You can do that. Faraday SD card access. They only do, the one I have is only 1080p 30s. And limited manual control. And there's no microphone input. So depends on your requirements, right? And stabilization is average. So if you're trying to carry this outdoors, it's a little bit trickier. Okay, so next one, sorry. And this I did as a gag. I'm definitely not doing this. This is not a stable way of putting 2 cameras together, but it gets it close. Okay, there's not doing that. Dual iPhones for 3D video. Okay, so it comes to that. All right. Oh, sorry. Let me see if we can go back here. What's great about that is that okay, I'm just gonna keep on clicking through this real quick. So there's a million iPhones out there. So if you already have a used one after you upgrade it, maybe you can buy another old one used, and then now you have 2 phones that you can match to do video with, right? So that's a nice setup. The biggest problem with iPhones is that they put the lenses at one corner, right? If the lenses were centered right in the centered, if they were centered, you wouldn't have to flip the second phone. You wouldn't have to raise and flip at the same time. You can just flip the phone without having to raise the second camera to match the 2 lenses. So it would be awesome if it was the camera was in the middle, but that's not going to happen here, right? There's just different configurations that we're trying. Like this is a bad idea. I have to use MagSafe, but it looks like a weapon, right? So if I'm walking around New York City or get stopped by a police officer, they might think I have a gun, right? So don't do this. Don't do this. This is a bad idea.
Yes, it's probably a bad time to do that in New York. I got your point completely.
No, New York's fine. It just, I don't want to be mistaken for it being mistaken for weapons. Okay, anyway.
It makes sense to me, man. I got your point.
Okay, I'm sorry. Oh, darn it. How did I go back here? Sorry, just a second. Hold on. Just a second. Okay, let me see. Okay. Okay, so, and sliding. Sorry. So these were different configurations. I was just messing around trying. That's the fun part. You just experiment. And this one is also a good option too. The MagSafe. You put in the magnetic sticker, and then you can just stick it on directly onto the phone. You don't have to mess around with the mount. And here's an example of me doing vertical. If you got your glasses, this is what I did. So if you have a phone, you can definitely do side by side 3D with that. Right? And depending on your brackets, you can get the phones even closer than that. Okay, so all right, next one. And here, okay, good. And of course, that brings us to the next subject. The older iPhones have only kind of not a really wide angle. So for fun, I said, hey, I have an extra anamorphic lens. I'll buy another one, put it together, and I'm gonna try anamorphic video. I did this in Central Park. I guess you guys already know what anamorphic lenses are, but I mean, in the old days in cinema, they wanted to compete with television, so the lenses would compress, the wide angle lenses will compress the wide into the square frame of the 35 millimeter film. And then when it's projected on the movie theater, the lenses is also anamorphic, and then it expands that images and fills the movie theater screen. So anamorphic, right? Like not Cinerama, but later Cinerama would like that, 2.35 or something like that. Okay. And here. The biggest problem I found is finding tripod spacers to lift devices up. So you got to have a lot of washers and things to mess around with. iPhones can record amazing video, giant viewfinder. Battery life of the older phones isn't great, so you may have to change batteries. And if you overheat them, they might stop and it might skip frames. And AirDrop, you can wirelessly transfer your files into your computer. You don't even have to connect the cable. That's one of the advantages of the iPhones. You can just go and drag it and it'll appear in your Mac. Okay, so let me go now. So who's gonna try and play this video?
Yeah,
examples and stuff. Okay, right.
Is that you, Joe? Could you cut to the video?
Okay.
Oh, you have to stop sharing at this point.
Okay.
Oh, you could knock him off, right, Joe? You could just knock him off.
How do I do that? How do I get out of there? Okay, good. Can I get out? Okay, good, perfect.
Yep, there we go. Now this will be in Anaglyph, right?
Yes.
Thank you. This is great. The guy's tailgating a bus. This is where New York has come. I love it. On a motorcycle, on a scooter. Hey, John, I'm looking for a pizza place. I'm so hungry at this point. Oh, there we go. Oh, no. Where is this in Queens? Oh, sorry.
103, Corona.
Where are you in Queens here? Oh, Corona, you said. How was that?
I forgot to render it out. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. You caught us on that one. Okay, anybody who could preview. There we go. Central Park?
Yes. The City Fountain.
Yeah, the Bethesda. Yeah. A lot of action happened in Bethesda over the years. Been there many times. Do you find it better to hold the camera like when you're panning? Do you see issues, or do you like it better? It looks a little better when you're on. You on a tripod here?
The carrying iPhones are really hard, so definitely use a tripod. It's easier, but then you have to carry it all around New York City, a tripod. It just gives it more polish if you have a tripod, especially with.
Understood. Thank you. Thank you. I haven't been to Bethesda Fountain in a while. I'll get there this year for sure. Oh, look at those obnoxious buildings, man. Oh my God. This is pretty good for what you. That's interesting. The front is what's in the foreground is not that terrible, considering you've got that much depth in it. How wide did you have these apart?
Can't remember.
Quite all right. No problem at all, man. No problem. Ice Rescue Ladder Station. Moron Ice Rescue Ladder Station. Yeah, that water's only about 6 feet deep at most. I know, because we used to, at night we used to come there and take the boats out at night, just break in.
Thank you. Thanks for putting that up. So obviously it would look much better if you look at directly on YouTube or via AR glasses or VR glasses, whatever. So
no, that we know. That we know.
Okay,
that we know. So no, this whole audience knows that. No, you didn't have to. That was an interesting thing you did, though.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. Oh, thank you.
Listen, pal, you just took me to the park. Oh, where am I right now? I wanted to go to the boathouse, see if I can grab myself something, maybe some French fries. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Good. All right. So the biggest issue is when you have two cameras. It's obviously the magic happens in editing, right? There's some programs will do a lot for you, but I'm doing it with Final Cut Pro. So basically, there's no stereoscopic editing built in. There's no tools built in. I have a discontinued plugin, but you could do it manually, but you would have to do a little bit cropping and overlaying and stuff. But basically, I'll just go through it really quickly. Basically here, I don't have to use a sync cable, right? Because what I generally do is I start the left camera first, the recording, I hit the record on the left camera, as you see below. Then I click the right camera, right? In Final Cut Pro, you can choose two clips and you right click and say synchronize clips into a compound clip by audio. So it'll roughly put the two clips together aligned by audio, right? And so it's a compound clip. That means it's within one container that I put on the timeline.
Now, when did they stop a Dashwood? There's no plugin anymore.
There is. I don't know. A couple of years ago, I said the reason why they stopped it is Tim Dashwood is now working for Apple, right? So I'm hoping that Tim will add those features back into the next version of Final Cut Pro, because now Apple has their spatial video product, right?
Yeah, maybe
for a phone.
that'll inspire them to re-put it. Yeah, gotcha.
But lucky for me, I did purchase the plugin 10 years ago when I was playing around with the W3, and the plugin still works perfectly. So here's an example. So
Please do continue. Thank you.
okay, the two clips are side by side, and the plugin allows me to go left and right. And right now, if you look at it, the sync is off. If you look at this girl with the Bose jacket, you can see her foot there. The one on the right is still a little up and still a little bit above, and the bottom one, the one on the left, is about almost down on the ground, right? So what you need to then do is slip it 1 or 2 frames, just slip one track, 1 or 2 frames, or maybe even a couple frames until they match, right? So in this case, the foot position is what I always look for, because those are the ones you'll see if there's something wrong.
Where the movement actually is occurring.
The movement,
most,
exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So you slip 1 frame until you get it perfect in here. The sync here will be perfect here, right? So that's the main part about editing. If you're going to do it without a cable, I guess, is to manually edit it, assembling it and editing. Now, over time, the cameras drift, so most of my shots don't last more than a minute or so anyway, 30 seconds or so. So I'm not worried about it. I'm not trying to do an hour worth of not a continuous video, right? So that's just an interesting comment on that. Okay, so, and there you go, good sync. And then export it and send it to YouTube. And right now, so the things I've been messing around with, the Kanda was great for video, except that it doesn't have an exposure lock and there's no microphone input. So you're trying to film and all of a sudden somebody goes in front of the candle and then it darkens and then it lightens and darkens and lightens. I just really wish they would update the firmware, but I'm not sure if they'll ever do that. Plus another issue is if you aim the camera up toward the sky, it loses focus. The lens moves or something, and that's very annoying. But the files that come out of it are ready to go. I mean, you can just upload the file right out of the camera and you're good. You don't have to deal with any of these rigging. So, right. So which brings me to my favorite thing now is the i15 Pro, which shoots spatial video natively using their 2 lenses. Basically, it's contained in the MV-HEVC, is the spatial video format that they're using. But it doesn't mean that you have to have a Vision Pro to look at the videos. All the videos that you shoot on the iPhone 15 Pro can be used any way you want. There's an app there to convert it to side-by-side, half side-by-side, anaglyph, or whatever you want. Put it together and upload it to YouTube and you're set. And I'm gonna skip this, okay? You don't have to deal with anything about rigging, right? Just in your pocket, the USB-C offers all kinds of good stuff. You can take spatial photos with it. Even though Apple hasn't implemented the feature, the third-party apps have done that. So you can just go and take pictures, but there's not a lot of parallax. It's great for indoor pictures, or you frame kind of nicely, put something interesting in the foreground, and then you can just go and take 3D pictures with that. So spatial photos and spatial video. But even if you don't have a Vision Pro or any other device, the Spatialify app allows you to look at the videos as a side-by-side directly on the phone. You don't have to convert it into anything. You just play it back, and you use like L'Oreal Maxi or Freeview, and you can see the 3D really nicely. So the problem with YouTube now is if you upload it to YouTube, if you 3D tag it, YouTube used to offer so many different 3D viewing options, but now they've kind of like crippled it. So if you're viewing on a mobile device, it's anaglyph only. If you're viewing on the desktop, it's anaglyph or 2D. That's it. If you tag it for 3D, YouTube 3D. If you're on a 3D TV, you can see it. It'll serve you half side by side, right? So I guess if you have a 3D TV, you're good to go. If you try to use an OWL viewer, you can't do it because you can't get access to the side-by-side picture video from the desktop or the mobile anymore, right? Now, the smart glasses, which I'm gonna talk about in a minute, you definitely can access it and you can see the video the way it was meant to be seen. I guess so that's one of the debates I actually want to know. Some people said that don't tag it, just send it as, upload it as full side by side, and then people can try to figure out how to view it later. So I don't know if there's any good options here. What's the best way to upload to YouTube? If you want YouTube to process it and give anaglyph for people without glasses, or do you want to just upload it straight? So that's a great question. Okay, if you guys have any ideas, let me know. I mean, this is the way that's really great way of watching it. The videos that you shot the iPhone directly on a viewer like this, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's go to the Vicha One glasses. Got these for about $300 because it advertises 300, actually 350, but there was a coupon. It advertises compatibility with the iPhone 15, and you can play the spatial videos that you shot. And so as soon as I record it, put on the glasses, plug it in, I can just look at the video that I've shot, and it's ready to go. There's nothing else needed. So it works with iPhone 15, the new one, the newest. Okay, it works with any iPhone with a USB-C port, I guess. It'll play back almost any flavor of YouTube. So that includes the side-by-side, half side-by-side, and the YouTube 3D ones. So it opened my eyes to a lot of all the content that's on YouTube, because most of the time I see side-by-side, I said, it's hard for me to watch it because I'm looking at my phone to preview it, or if I'm on the TV, forget it, I can't see anything on that, right? So now it has diopter adjustments, and the early models may not support 3D, and the 3D mode is a button you click on the side. So I'm going to exit out of here. Let me see, exit. How do I stop sharing my video here to see? I'm sorry. Let's see. I'm sorry, just a second. Okay, perfect. Okay, I'm just going to do the glasses here, right? So it's got the USB, you plug in the cable into this thing here, and basically inside, you look through, I guess, the cameras actually, the displays are actually on top. So you're actually looking through a reflection. So looking at it through the outside. So it's almost like a hologram. The image appears directly in front of you, right? Okay, you're looking at it through, so you can still see outside your surroundings with it on. And okay, now let me go back to, I'm sorry. Okay, lost my thought here. Sorry. Just 1 second. I'm sorry, just a second. Okay, so there's diopter adjustments here. So I have bad eyes, so you can definitely do that. It's the speakers on the side here, but they're here. Well, anyway, somewhere along the temples here, what I've got, but they're very small. But they're not they're worthless. Basically, if you want to listen to them, you have to cup your hands.
Yeah, sure.
or use Bluetooth headphones. What's the other thing? It comes with an app, and it allows accessing the YouTube videos, really 3D videos perfectly. But if you have stuff that's directly in your phone, they're kind of finicky at what type of files you have. So full side by side is the best. Full side by side, 3840 by 1080. So basically, if you're looking at something and didn't engage in 3D mode, you push a button on the side and then it'll display. So I finally saw some 3D movies that I've never seen before, like Gravity on it, and I was like very impressed by that.
No fatigue. No fatigue. No fatigue.
No,
or is
no,
there fatigue? Okay.
There's no fatigue because there's no color or retinal rivalry, right? So it's quite good. I mean, don't eat popcorn while you're watching, because then as you're chewing the glasses, the picture will move as you're chewing the popcorn, right? So don't be eating while you're watching that. I think
how about, maybe it's Cheese Whiz. You can insert Cheese Whiz into your mouth, right?
Right. Otherwise, yeah. But I was trying to do it with a 3D Blu-ray player. I don't have a 3D TV at all. So my 3D Blu-ray player has a side-by-side mode. and I tried to hook it up via HDMI to a USB-C cable, but the darn thing just wouldn't work. It would not work with. So it's hit or miss when it comes to 3D Blu-ray. So you have to rip 3D Blu-rays. There's no other options, or you go to those sketchy websites and you look at it there. So watch 3D movies there. But, okay.
You were great. Oh, that was wonderful.
That's what it. I'm sorry it ran so long.
No, don't be sorry.
Okay.
You were wonderful. You absolutely.
Okay.
And I know everyone's got questions, so I'm going to move into the next phase of this, which I didn't tell, which is the after party, because then you'll be able to. Because
Okay.
questions have been coming up. John, you had questions and people had questions, so just wait until. Oh, could you show me the? Oh, beautiful. Let's look at that, and
What?
then we'll move
No,
on
the
to
same.
the.
No, I don't have anything. I just have it here. I don't have to show anything.
I'm sorry. You know what it was? There's too many Johns. I'm Johnny.
No,
You're John.
no. I don't have to show anything. Nothing to say.
Mr. Christopher. How am I called Mr. Because there's another John and Mr. Christopher. I saw your stuff come up. Stand by a moment because we're going to move into the after party where you can show people stuff. So we're going to move right now. So give me one moment. Stand by. You're going to see a credit roll, and then we're going to head into the after party. So, are you through your presentation, John? I didn't want to cut you off.
Oh yes, I'm basically done, right?
Oh
Yes,
no, that was time for
okay,
questions,
yeah,
and I want to let other people at that because that's not fair. I'm sucking all the time up. I want to thank this week's guest, John Chu. Thanks for sharing so much with it. That's so important what you did. You didn't go too fast. You didn't go too slow. You were just right. You were just right, John. That couldn't have been done any better. That was a very good presentation. And I'm sure people are going to have lots of questions. So wait one moment. I want to thank this week's guest, John Chu. Am I pronouncing your last? How do you pronounce your last name? Did I screw it up already? Chu. Look at me nailing it. That's like, okay, good.
That's correct.
It's the first time this entire season. So you got to start somewhere. Thank you very much for that wonderful presentation and leaving us better than you found us. And thanks for our amazing crew for making this all possible. Stereo Doro, aka Dorothy Goodman, Jim Hart, Jay Kuznets, Joe Podoto, and of course Paul Hutchins out there. And last but not least, you for stopping by to see what you've been missing in 3D. Now we change gears, head off to the after party where great minds meet, MEAT. Please stay connected, and you'll be brought to our after party with our host, Joe Podoto. See you later. Roll the credits. And the credit roll is rolling.
New York, so good they named it twice. New York, all the scandal and the vice. I love it, New York, now isn't it a pity? What they say about New York, so good they named it twice. New York, all the scandal and the vice. I love it, New York.
Welcome, everyone, to the greatest after party of any Zoom 3D session in North America. I think it's safe to say that. You are all allowed to unmute, but we would ask that you please stay muted unless you're actively involved in the conversation. John, I want to thank you for an incredible presentation. A wealth of information, really. And now I think your presentation was wonderful. Now I think we'll test the wonderfulness of our audience. We like to pride ourselves. That that we have a really intelligent audience, and I'm certain that people are dying to ask you some questions. So I just want to throw it open. Who's got the first question for John Chu? And again, thank you for your time and thank you for all that information.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so
So who's the first one to ask a question?
Okay. Why
Well,
not?
I know there's some questions in the chat, which maybe we can read.
Okay.
The one question
Okay.
I had, John, I have the X-Real glasses, which I think are similar to the Vitures.
Right.
In I'm sorry if you cover this, but do the Vitures give you sort of the 3 depths of 3 DOF effect of the screen floating, or does the screen follow your eyes wherever they go?
So if you so they try to say accessories, right? If you use these glasses USB-C, you can plug it directly. Am I muted? Directly into the iPhone, and it's perfect. But you have to engage the 3D manually. But they try to sell you an adapter for $60, I think. This allows you to charge. Plus, it gives you that DOF or whatever. So you can have it where you turn
I'm
your
not sure
head.
if
You can turn
my
your head.
question was clear. I understand about the 3D. I'm talking about with a lot of these glasses, they're putting a screen, but it's basically following your head. As you turn your head, it's like it's glued to the screen. Whereas there's what we call 3 degrees of freedom. It doesn't have to do with 3D. Is the effect of the screen floating in space, so you can actually look around it.
It does, and it's not perfect, but it does work. I mean, they have it there. So with the adapter, I can turn around, and you can either pin or unpin it, and then it kind of floats. But it isn't the greatest implementation. It's supposed to work even on your Macintosh, on your computer, plug it into your computer using your Spacewalker app. And then you can have virtual screens, and then you can look, and you can have one screen on your left, one screen on your right, or in the bottom, or up. But I just can't see a use case for me, because the video is, I mean, it's kind of small. I can't really see any text there, right? I don't understand it, but it does work depending on the apps. So within the application that they provide with the glasses, or that you download from the iOS app, you can do some of that stuff you talked about, turning, and it's there. But if you go outside of the app and you launch other apps, it'll just function as a monitor. So
when you plug it right into your iPhone, it's just basically
it would just function as a monitor, as a direct monitor. If I'm watching a video and if it's in 3D, I push the button to go into 3D mode and it'll work. I lost the train of thought. Don't lose the train of thought about that side-by-side thing. I thought I lost it. I was going to add to this. What was this? The side-by-side, no 3D. Okay, if I get back to you on that, so what was it? I just lost. I had something interesting comment about the glasses on that, but the 3D, the glasses, and there's a monitor. Okay, I'm sorry. I was trying to.
What I've actually found, and I don't know if you've ever done this, I use mine with an Android phone. That's actually why I got the X-Reals, because they were compatible. They had apps for Androids. But I've been surprised how useful it is. It's just sort of a monitor while photographing. In other words, I have the thing in the phone, so I'm seeing what my phone is seeing much better than if I'm looking at the screen of the phone. It's really nice for especially shooting live performance, things like that.
If they can engage where only one eye sees it, we can turn off one eye. But right now, both eyes are filled. I wouldn't walk around with it, but it would be kind of cool, because I think people that are like Steadicam operators, they might want to be filming with the cameras aimed behind you, and then I can see here and I can see what I'm doing, and that'd be a good use case, I would think, right?
Great. Well, thanks for all that. It's just I don't run into many other people who are using these types of glasses, so it's kind of hard to get a sense of how the Viture compares to the X-Reals, and they're.
I mean, we should all get the Vision Pro. I mean, that's what I would want.
Yeah, it's got 7 times as much as the 8 times.
Well, so in theory, I bought the cheap one, but the more expensive one, the film on the lenses are supposed to darken and undarken by a button. It'll darken so that it gives you that effect of blocking, or you can put a shade in front of it. So
it's quite cool. It really does work. I thought it was a silly feature when I bought them, but I'm amazed how useful I find it.
Oh, you're talking about the DOF, whatever, degrees of freedom. The 360 and 180 VR videos sort of work, the 360. So if you're doing the 360 video, you probably have to sit on a desk chair so it can spin around. I don't know how. I wouldn't want to walk around turning my head all the way around. That's kind of annoying. There's no place on the phone, because the phone didn't work like a trackpad, but I can't just spin on the phone. I have to basically turn around to see. I don't want to do that. That's kind of interesting. So that's one feature. So 360 videos are supported, but I have not seen any 360 3D. I saw some VR 180 3D, but not everything on YouTube works on that. Okay. All right, let's go. Okay, so what's the other question we have here?
I know we have some ones in the chat. If no one else has anything, we can look at those. But anyone else want to pop in?
So, could you show your anamorphic lens?
Oh, okay. Anamorphic lens on the phone. Okay, here, just a second. Hold on, just put it. So basically, I just slide it. Let me go a little bit closer. And basically, the anamorphic lenses are like this. It has a 1.33 squeeze on it. So there's lots of anamorphic lenses out there made in China, or you get the ones made for a moment.
Did your audio, wait a minute, the audio seems to get lower, or is it just me?
Who's audio? Me?
Yeah, the audio is a little lower. Maybe something's blocking your mic.
Hey, John.
Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Perfect. Now you came back. Thank you.
I guess I hit it with the modifier. Anyway, never mind. I'm sorry about that. So here, basically it's 1.33 squeeze. So it squeezes the image by 33% into the 16:9 frame, and then in editing you just stretch it back out to fill the frame, so you get that nice widescreen look. I mean, you can crop. I mean, it's not like the most. It's a gimmick and an effect, but it's nice. I mean, if you want the flares, if you want those distortions when you are shooting video, right? So I need to go out, take this out more, but I'm so lazy because it's just hard to be carrying a whole tripod around New York City, especially like when bathroom breaks. Who's going to watch the camera when you go to the bathroom? Right? What other question do we have here? YouTube is frozen. Do you want to ask anybody else has a question to have? If they want that.
Had you considered using a Steadicam instead of your monopod?
I think the biggest problem, yeah, but the biggest problem is hold on just a second. The biggest problem is this phone is so wide. I don't know how you would put this on a Steadicam unless you get like, it's so, it's just kind of bulky. I mean, the cheaper consumer gimbals, you probably hit the motor, right? So I don't know how you would do it. Maybe in Hollywood, you can probably have a very expensive Steadicam, mechanical Steadicam that would do it, but it'll be hard to do with this thing. It'll be kind of hard to do. But that'd be great because you can move around and stuff. But I think nowadays with that, the spatial audio, the spatial video feature in iPhone, I think that's the setup if you really want to do 3D. I mean, it's just less headache. The video just looks good, and the workflow is easy with iPhone 15.
So do you notice that, I know there's been a lot of talk on the Photo 3D that there's actually a mismatch in the focal length between the two lenses, and Apple does some trickery to sort of make them a matched stereo pair in post-processing. Do you notice any issues with that, or are you pretty happy with how the two lenses match up?
I'm not sensitive to it, but some people I heard says they can, especially during low light, it's a little bit noisier on the ultra wide, because it takes it from the ultra wide and then zooms in and then matches it up with the regular standard, the good quality one. Some people are more sensitive to it. I personally don't have an issue with it. I don't have an issue. I think it's perfectly good as is, but I guess mileage varies, depends on how sensitive or how exacting a person wants. I assume if Apple comes out with with two really good cameras, maybe it'll be better in the future. Or maybe an external camera that plugs into the iPhone would be good, something like that.
Yeah,
You don't really get any depth.
When I saw the demo of the Vision Pro, they showed stuff taken with the iPhone 15, which was all very, very minimal parallax because the lenses, and then
Yeah,
everything
right.
taken with the thing itself was really hyper. The people really miniaturized, and the salesperson didn't know what I was talking about,
So
but I
talk
just
about-
said, this
yeah.
is so interesting. You're demonstrating the difference between not enough and too much. Scary.
But it kind of makes sense for Apple because they really want people to capture, like family get-togethers and stuff that's close. And if like maybe you're at a graduation ceremony, you got people in front of you, in the audience, maybe that's fine because you get some interesting stuff in front of you, And most of the time, shooting 3D with the iPhone 15 means you got to frame it interestingly, find something in front of you, like a car or a light post or something. You just got to frame it so that the 3D works better.
Yeah,
The
it's
problem-
almost kind of hyper. Its built-in lenses are quite.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to walk around with a headset filming that.
Well, people are going to.
The problem with the iPhone 15 Pro Max or
Yeah.
Pro shooting the 3D, you really don't get any depth beyond 15, 20 feet. That's
Right.
it.
That's correct. Okay. But it's not. But it's really comfortable to watch. My experience. I mean, it's the best looking 3D that I've ever played with for myself. That I can just easily shoot. Because if I use the QCam Eagle, and maybe that's what 65 or whatever it is. When I shoot video, I just feel like indoors and stuff, it's too wide. So I already got window violations and stuff. When I look at it, it's kind of bad. But I mean, for me, the iPhone 15 is beyond the 3D capability. It's also a damn good video camera. I mean, you can shoot 4K video in ProRes out to an SSD, and you look at that, and it's like, oh my God, is this from a phone? It looks like something from a high-end video camera. So as a package, as something that's always with me, I can't beat it. It's just something that I love. It's my main thing.
If you compared it to some of your other videos, though, you had nice depth.
You're right.
In your videos with the anamorphic lens. You just don't get that with the iPhone 15 Pro.
Absolutely can't do that. You just won't get that. So, but it's better for me. It's there, so it's nice to have that. Because like if I were trying to do that with the iPhone 15, with the dual iPhone setup, I've got to lug that around and put down the tripod, set it up, and after a while you get a little bit discouraged.
That was one thing I was wondering about. Do you get people hassling you because you've got sort of elaborate rig?
Right.
Do you get people hassling you when you're walking around?
No, New York City, no, nobody ever bothers you. They may be curious. They see if you set up a tripod, people probably wonder what you're doing, what you're shooting and stuff. But most of the time, they leave you alone. iPhones and stuff are not intimidating, so they're pretty good. I mean, it's the Cyclops. If you have a DSLR and you're shooting and you got this big lens, they're expecting, oh my God, surveillance and stuff, and they may act funny. But with a phone, people in New York City, they just walk by you and just ignore you. They don't really care that you film. That's what's good about a single iPhone right now. Right.
Is the iPhone Pro able to do 180 with an actual arc? And have you tried any way of actually using two iPhones Pros together so you can get the wider separation?
When iPhone 15s, it'd be so expensive to do it. But yeah, if when two phones become available and they're cheap in the used market, eventually my phone's going to be old and maybe a second one will come up and that's available. I bet you it'd be great. You can then put it on these rigs and adjust the stereo base and then sync it in post. That spatial video format is open. It's supposed to be an open format, so you can put anything in there. You can put videos out of your Fuji, the QCam, and you just save it as a spatial video format. And when you say 180, what do you mean by VR 180? Or what kind of 180 are we talking about here? 180.
Well, it talks about being used in a 360 environment, but I'm looking at trying to do something like Cinerama, where you have, a 180 wraparound with 3D coming out in the middle.
No way, Jose.
You just buy enough computers. I buy enough. I don't know. Buy 3 iPhones. I don't know. I think some people have bought the GoPros and they're putting that the Max Mod lens on it, that they're doing VR 180 with it. But then there's just a lot of post-production editing. Oh, also good. One thing interesting about these GoPros. Let me show you real quick. Because not everybody likes the fisheye, right? So there's companies. Hold on, let's see. There's companies that will actually modify them. It's just a screw. Take off the lens. They use the pliers and they unscrew the lens. There are a lot of rectilinear lenses that they can put on these. They can mount it, so you can put C-mount lenses from security cameras and stuff like that. They modify it. So you can set yourself up a rig where it's not fisheye. You can put tele and anything you want. I've seen that, but I did the math. It doesn't make sense because the modification is about $200 to $300 to modify it. Or if you buy the lens, you got to do it yourself. You unscrew it and put a new lens in it. And then you get nice regular video that's not fisheye, right? So that's kind of interesting.
You can't sync any GoPros up beyond GoPro 7, can you?
I no syncing, manual sync. What I do is basically my workflow is manual syncing and in editing. So you got to do editing. That's the thing.
But that's tough on video.
Yeah, tough. Yeah, it's not hard, but it's just you got to be willing. One is willing to suffer for the art. I guess DaVinci Resolve probably has these features where you can do that, where it'll just take 2 tracks and it'll just sync it the best you can, and you sync it the best you can, then you just trim off the ends, and after you sync it, and that's it. You're left and right, and you're good to go. So, I mean, and do whatever alignment is needed between the 2 cameras, stuff like that. I think. Okay. Any other thoughts on that or whatever?
That's actually what the field sequential ones were, basically, because you were a little like a quarter frame off in their sync. Yeah. But it requires a lot of post work when you have to deal with individual shots. The drift, you never know where the drift's going to be until after you see it, and it might be the key part you're trying to save.
Okay. I mean, this is the only way we can do it until an actual 3D camera is affordable and available for enthusiasts, right? Most people are not interested. A lot of people are not interested in it, right? So.
Yeah, that's why the 2 iPhones would be cheaper than buying one Canon with the 3D lens. I have the 3D lens. I don't have the camera.
Oh, you mean for the Canon R5, the one with?
Well, the R5C, because the R5 heats up too much and doesn't do 60 frames a second.
Right.
But I'm wondering what the Mark II will be doing.
They probably I mean, VR80. That's a very interesting product. I had the Lenovo one that I was messing around with, but it was just not enough pixels for in 4K to do good VR 180. So I think flat 3D is good enough for me right now because I was just frustrated by the quality of the Mirage. And basically, I can't view any VR80 videos anymore because Google removed the cardboard option. So basically, I can't view VR 180. Except for these new glasses, I can kind of do it. But, I don't know.
My complaint is everybody that says it's 180 really isn't. It's like it gets a wider picture, but doesn't really get the picture peripherally around you. It's like the commercial they have for that when the rear view mirror that actually just gives you a wider picture, doesn't really give you a wrapper.
But the 3D part of VR 180 is really good. Right? I mean, you see it and you actually feel like it's kind of eerie. Like, YouTube has a bunch of VR 180 with attractive women that are in front of you and you're like looking down and up, and it's kind of an interesting showcase of that technology, right? So,
I agree. Although the edges are where you're going to have the problems.
No, I agree with that.
Around that much.
It's an interesting application of that technology.
That's how VHS was born, or something like that, right? No, I don't know. I'm just kidding.
But also the VR doesn't offer you what you have in a theater where the lights reflect off the screen so that you don't have to look around. You can be immersive. And what I'm talking about, they did in 1983 in Japan. They had a theater where you had a center screen in 3D and the two side peripherals were 2D.
What is that? The Screen X, the movie theaters that people are doing now? I think that's something like that, right? Multimedia screens and stuff.
Screen X just has a 260 degree because they do a 90-degree angle off of the center screen and go flat on the walls all the way to the back of the theater.
Right.
I liked better the Barco Escape that had a 45-degree angle screen on each side and then did split screen, so you had it through the whole movie, not just panoramic scenes.
Okay, I think these VR headsets, whether it's the Vision Pro or these Quest things, I've never touched a Quest, and I don't want to deal with Meta, but all those immersive things, I think, and with your VR 180 lens, eventually create content like that that's going to fill it. You don't want to be turning all the way back all the time anyway, right? Most of the time you just turn a little bit this way, a little bit this way, and then just look up and down, and that's it, right? So otherwise, how do you hide yourself if you're filming 360, right? I mean, you're filming 360, you got to be underneath the camera, or you got to hide behind a tree, right? So with the VR 180, you can, the whole crew can be behind the camera. So that's to me, that's an advantage. It's just easier to work with, I think. If I don't know.
Well, you left us better than you found us, Sean. Now we know the one thing we have learned without question that if you're watching a 3D movie with those glasses, you just have to have Cheese Whiz injected into your mouth. You cannot have popcorn. That's like I went away with that was a big one of the day. Now I realized no pretzels. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, it jiggles. I was trying to eat something, and I was watching it with the features, and I said, "What is moving?" That was kind of
yeah. You know, I had an engineer who I forget the guy's name. I'm sorry, I can't. Big fella. He once did a thing at the Society of Motion Picture and Television Engineers. Said, you know, the society. Let me say a little clearly. The Society of Motion Picture and Television Engineers, and he handed out pretzels to everybody, right? And he said, and he was showing the video, he said, bite, and it skipped a frame. He said, you know, we were eating pretzels at a show. We went back and forth trying to figure out why the frame was jumping, you know? And then they realized it was the pretzel. Because as soon as they bit the pretzel, they lose the frame. Like, and then it was great. They searched this thing out left and right. What the fuck? Anyway, it's great. Again, so now we know, invest in Cheese Whiz if the VR goes forward. You have been so generous with your time, John. Thank you so much. You were great.
Okay.
Any concern you had, you could throw out the window. You were wonderful.
Thank
and we
you.
all appreciate you spending the time with us and your all your experiments, because that's really what it takes. Everybody's a genius on the couch. That's when you get up and do stuff that you find out why it works or doesn't work, or it works better than you even thought. You know, there's always that. Okay. So again, thank you very much.
If I can interject before
please do.
We had our caption this poll. I haven't been able to access the I got the results, but I haven't been able to get them to a forum where I can share them. But I just wanted to read the results because we had some.
Please. Oh my goodness gracious.
Winner that got 50% of the vote was Robert McAfee. I'm sorry, was that McAfee? Sorry if I got the name wrong. Worms again. We had worms yesterday. Joe Pedoto. Okay, who wants day-old hot dog buns? I do. And Mike Schoenburn, all in favor. Cheap. All opposed, cheap. So there you have it. Next time we'll display it, but I did want to share.
Yeah, those are great. Thank you for doing that, Jim. Thank you. Hey, that is a good one though. We had worms. You are such clever people, man. I'm so out clevered by you. It's embarrassing. Wow, that is super. You're all great. Thank you so much for doing that.
Oh, here they are. Okay, I couldn't get them. I couldn't get them onto my computer, but Dorothy did. So there you have it, and you can actually see a graphic of the vote.
Oh God, they're great. Well, I listen. As far as they're everyone is great. Everyone's a winner, as they say. Yeah, really, man. I'm so glad we started doing that because it really helps keep me awake. No, I'm kidding. Those are hysterical. Thank you.
And
thank you very much.
Accomplishment and pride is our prize for this week, right?
Yeah, our prize for this week is congratulations. There's your prize. No, great.
We'll have to work on that.
Yeah. Well, you've risen above in the 3D world. You are now 4D.
We get Apple to donate some Vision Pros for prizes yet.
Imagine that. Imagine that. Well, thank you again. And again, you know, anybody in the big strip that's going to knock the planet off its axis because everybody's running to one spot to see the thing go. Oh, and Bob, I think he left. He was in the he came to New York and he drove over. That doesn't right. I think he left. But anyway, we wish you could help you. If you're coming back through New York, well, this week I'm around and we have people around, so we would certainly give you the 2-penny tour.
Johnny, where are you going to watch? Are you going to watch the eclipse? Where are you headed?
Oh, actually, where I am, I'm going to get a partial eclipse because I'm close enough. And I have a hydrogen alpha telescope. Look it up because it's a long story. And, you know, I always like watching the moon when it's hardly there because you know, like when it's a half, when a quarter, because you really see all of the shadows and you can imagine, you know, these places. And I'm going to see what that's like with the hydrogen alpha scope. If you don't know what hydrogen alpha scope is, it tunes out every wavelength except 656 nanometer, which is red, and it gives you like an angstrom or half an angstrom of bandwidth. So it's really you see the hydrogen explosions. I don't fish, I don't golf, but I love sitting out there staring at the sun. You know, and it also helps the neighbors certainly come to the conclusion that I'm out of my mind, because I'm pointing a telescope right at the sun. But I can sit out for 3 hours watching it. So I haven't tried it on an eclipse. And I'm hoping we have you know, I'm hoping we have are you moving it? Are you going to try to get into that path, or you're close already, right? You're
Syracuse is within the path of totality.
It is okay. So I'm not going to do that
get
bad.
About a minute and 25, 30 seconds where I am. If I go an hour north or a little bit west to north, then it's closer to 3 minutes, 30 seconds.
I drove down to South Carolina during the 2017 one, and that was fun. But like 2017 into whoever it was. But yeah, this one I'm not going to budge because, you know, them clouds, they just come rolling in to blow the whole show. But thank you, bro. You know, it's going to be fun this is going to be fun, Ro. Once we get the guys who did this whole thing with the telescopes, the CA, the citizens, those guys who I hope are not watching because I can't remember the name. But they've already agreed to come on in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and share whatever data they have, and whatever images. So that's going to be fun in and of itself. Thank you, Robert, and thank you for that. That was a great one, man. Worms again. Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyway, see you guys next week. Another show has come to an end. Oh, by the way, we have David Pohl, P-O-H-L, next week from immervr.com. Just look at IMMERVR if you want to see what they're up to. And we're going to have him as a guest. That's going to be a lot of fun. So again, well, another show has come to an end. Thanks again for stopping by to see what you've been missing in 3D. And until next week, you know my story there. Don't be stingy with your camera shutter. Share your joy, count your blessings, and happy everything, my dear Stereodoro. Thank you very much, and thank all you guys for coming through this week. How's this one for a? You know, it makes me feel great knowing you can do without me. Maybe not so much that way, but really, thank you so much, man. You know, thank you. And Harold Blaze, if you're still online, I'll be contacting you during the week about your portion of the show. Thank you so much. Let's roll the credits so we can get out of here and I can have a coffee. Oh my God, I'm done. Things should be rolling.
Birthday, Dorothy.
New